Hello, my name is kdm, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to get into a Christmas case of a familicide in North Carolina. And I feel like there are a lot of familicide cases in North Carolina. We got Amityville and we have the Lawson family. And this actually happened on Christmas Day. And the reason why I just wanted to get into this particular case, because normally Christmas time, we're around family, loved ones, we're coming together, to celebrate the spirit of giving. However, with the Lawson family of 6 children, a wife, and Charles Lawson, they get together, but one person has ulterior motives. That is something so sinister that they need to keep this secret within. So make sure you like, comment, and definitely subscribe. We're gonna get right into it. Charles Lawson was the head of the family. He was born on May 10th, 1865, just 21 years after slavery had ended. But he was born to the parents of Augustus and Nancy. So Charles was raised in Lawsonville, known as Tobaccoville. And that's like at the top of North Carolina near Danbury. So that's what mainly he cultivated in with his career in sharecropping in tobacco. Charles decided to marry Fanny in 1911 when he was only 25 years old, but Fanny was 19 years old. So a little bit younger than him, but in those times, 1900s, is fairly acceptable age requirement. Now, Charles and Fanny would have 8 children, but unfortunately, with them producing children during that time where medical attention wasn't at its specialty of a peak, there was soon trouble amidst in their family unit. Now, Arthur was the firstborn, and then soon after followed a daughter named Mary, and they were only a year apart. Thirdborn son would be named William, who was born in 1914. However, in 1918, Charles' brothers Marion and Elijah decided, you know what, we like Lawsonville, but we want to start anew. We want to start our own. We want to move to Germantown, North Carolina, which is only 30 minutes away. Why don't you come with us, set up shop, and then you can become independent and successful. So Charles decided to take his family, because remember right now he just has 3 children and Fanny. He decides to take them on to Germantown to start anew. Now, sharecropping during this time, which is the late 1800s, early 1900s, was fairly the most common job, especially in the South. Think about it, after the Civil War, that was the common job. And it was part of maybe the lower social status. So pretty much the way sharecropping worked, they had a landlord and they would rent or loan out their land to where they would cultivate crops. And the way they would get money is either in exchange of land, exchange of money, or exchange of goods. So while Charles is trying to become successful and independent as a sharecropper, unfortunately 2 years later from moving to Germantown, his thirdborn son, William, passes away of an illness. However, that did not deter Fanny and Charles for producing more children. They ended up having 5 more. Mary, who was 12 years old, Maybelle, who is 7, James 4, Raymond 2, Mary Lou 4 months old. Now in 1927, Charles was able to buy his family, a family of 7, their own home on Brook Cove Road. It was a 200-year-old home, but it was a place where they could say that they owned it themselves. And so they were happy to achieve this accomplishment. So Charles should be at his peak right now. He's doing great with sharecropping. He was able to buy his own land and his home for his 7 children. And he has this wonderful support system. So what could possibly go wrong? What problems could they possibly have? Now, 2 years later, in 1929, Charles decides to take his entire family shopping take them into town where they can buy new Christmas clothes, and take a family portrait. Now, this was something unusual because to be able to afford that much clothing for this big of a household, plus be able to take a family portrait in the early 1900s, that was more so for upper class people, not for the working class of a sharecropper. So I wonder, did the family find this unusual? Was this normal for Charles every year to buy them Christmas clothes and a family portrait? Did they ever have like a red flag up in their head of why all of a sudden we are taking a family portrait? Why now are we buying these brand new Christmas clothes? And Charles is self-sufficient. He is successful in sharecropping. But I will also wonder too, how did he come up with enough money to be able to afford the family portrait, to afford the clothes? Did he have this pre-planned when he bought the land 2 years ago? Did Fanny, his wife, know that he had put aside funds for them to take this family portrait and buy? So, with this family portrait, this is like the last image of the family. And people often wonder why people back in the day did not smile during their portraits and films. But it is known that it took a very long time to produce the portrait and for the exposure. So that's why most of the time in portraits from the early 1900s, you do not see them smiling. But if you notice the Lawson family's portrait, they are not smiling, but look at their eyes and who is connecting to the camera and who is not. Marie, the 17-year-old daughter, is staring straight at the camera, while everyone else, her father, who is right beside her, Charles, is staring off to the left, as well as her mother, as well as her brother, Arthur, and the children. Everyone else has a little glimmer of light in their eyes. They're smiling, they're joyful, except for Marie. Did Marie hold a secret? Was Marie upset when taking this picture? Did Marie have something on her mind that she wanted to express that she could not even get her thoughts out of the way to enjoy, the moment that her other family members were having, except she was just staring straight? And the quite peculiar thing about this family portrait, like I said, they're all smiling. So I wonder, did they realize that this was the last moment in time to be captured of their entire family together before Christmas Day? So on Christmas Day, December 25th, 1925, Marie, 17 years old, was the first to get up, get ready. She wore her Christmas clothes that her father bought for her 2 weeks ago, and she decided to go into the kitchen and make a Christmas cake. Next, the middle two girls, Maybelle and Carrie, decided, you know what, we're gonna get up, we're gonna dress in our Christmas clothes, and we're gonna go to our aunt and uncle's house. We're gonna head out and have a good time. It's Christmas Day. We know that Marie is making the cake, but we'll be back by Christmas dinner. Meanwhile, Charles has gotten up before everybody, and he is actually outside behind the tobacco barn with a shotgun. Now, this doesn't seem peculiar, and I don't think anyone in the family had any alarms about him being behind the barn, because during this time, this was rabbit hunting season in North Carolina. So as Carrie and Maybelle head to their aunt and uncle's house, they are stopped in their tracks because they were shot in the back and slashed multiple times, then dragged back to the barn by their father, Charles. No one at the house had heard anything because they are, under the impression it's rabbit hunting season. There's nothing to be alarmed by. Plus, they did not see the occurrence at all. So Charles walks calmly back to the front of the house where Fanny is sitting on the porch. However, he instantly shoots her and ends her life. So once Marie, his 17-year-old daughter, hears the shot, she instantly screams out loud and belts. Charles begins to walk in the house, picks up Mary Lou, who is only 4 months old, and bludgeons her. He then goes into the kitchen where Marie has just made the Christmas cake and shoots her. Meanwhile, his 2 youngest sons, Raymond and James, are hiding within the house. They are scared. They do not know what's going on. They don't understand why their father is doing this and will not stop. Charles finds Raymond and James and ends their life as well. In the end, he leaves his signature mark with all of them, placing a pillow behind their head. With Carrie and Maybelle in the barn, he places a rock behind their head, but he always places their arms cross one another in a funeral position. What made Charles decide to do something so heinous and so violent to his entire family, and especially on Christmas Day? Why did he feel that this was the only resort, the only choice he had to make? What did his entire family do to him to make him want to react like this? Was this in him from the jump? Was it premeditated, or did he just snap? Lastly, why did he end everyone's life except for his oldest son, Arthur? So after he placed all of his 6 children in the funeral pose, as well as his wife, Fanny, he took the 2 dogs, Sam and Queen, out to the woods with 2 shotguns and began to hide in the woods. And I want to know is, did he for an instant feel remorseful? Did he for an instant understand the magnitude of what he had just done? So once he was in the woods, he saw a creek and began to wash his hands that was filled with blood. Then he began to walk around a tree, circling it allegedly for hours, trying to decide what decision to make next. Unfortunately, though, Arthur, his oldest son, had been in town this entire time of this particular tragedy. He had went out to get materials for rabbit hunting. He thought that he was going to go hunting with his father later on after Christmas dinner. Unfortunately, when he got back to the house, he noticed something was off. He walked towards the house and he noticed his mother. He walked into the house, broken furniture and blood smeared all over the walls. He immediately signaled the alarm for people in the community to know there is a problem here, for the police to come out. And as the people, family, relatives, the police discovered the tragedy at the Lawson family home, that is when they heard one last shot, which Charles took his own life. So when they went into the woods and they finally discovered Charles' body, they noticed 2 notes that he left behind, which says, "Trouble can cause, and there's no one to blame," but 2 incomplete sentences that would be left unfinished. 2 incomplete sentences that left you wondering, no one to blame but you? Trouble can cause? What trouble was going on? You had just become self-sufficient. You just were able to do a family portrait and provide for your family this Christmas Day. Everything appeared to be normal. So what troubles were brewing in the Lawson family? What troubles were brewing inside of Charles himself? Now, because the Lawson family murder happened on Christmas Day, this caused a lot of ruckus, not only in the small town, but nationwide. It got a lot of press. A lot of people wanted to come and see this sight, this brutal attraction, this haunting mystery of why a man would want to take out his entire family. According to the Charlotte Observer, 5,000 people attended the funeral of the Lawson family. And what I found peculiar even about the funeral, not only were the 6 children in Fanny's funeral held at this church, but they also allowed Charles to be part of this ceremony as well, and him be buried with his children and wife that he took out. I don't know if that's kosher or justice, because who really got justice at the end for these innocent children? Mary Lou, only 4 months old. Raymond and James, they'll never become fathers. Marie, 17 years old, never will able to get married. So we never got a clear answer of why Charles did this, essentially because he took his own life. So there were a lot of theories, spewing around why he could have committed this crime. The first one was that Charles had mental health issues because of a severe head injury he had only months before Christmas. Now, I've never heard of someone getting a serious head injury where they would want to snap and take out their entire family. My theory, if this is true, did he have mental health issues prior and no one ever knew about it, but it was brewing from the jump? Maybe he had mental health issues that were severe, that were lethal. But back in the late 1800s, 1900s, no one wanted to commit someone. No one wanted to be characterized as the crazy person back then. And family status. Would it look okay for Charles to be labeled with a mental health issue? How would he be able to still provide for his family, but having to take care of his health itself? Another theory is that there was a family secret within the Lawson family that no one ever really talked about, but it was soon going to be brought ahead. Marie, their 17-year-old daughter, was pregnant. Not only was she pregnant, but there was speculation that Fanny, her mother, knew about her incest relationship with her father, Charles. And she knew about this a year ago in 1928. But I wonder, did Fanny know about the pregnancy? And I'm often to wonder, looking back at the family portrait, is that why Marie was staring straight at the camera while everyone else was jolly? She was holding life within herself that was associated to her father. Maybe she didn't feel like laughing. Maybe she was scared to be a mother at that time. Maybe she didn't know how society would look at her, knowing she had an intimate relationship with her father. And it's often speculated too, this is all alleged, that he forced himself on her. It was not a willing relationship at all. And I do find it ironic he married Fanny when she was 19. Marie is 17. However, when we think about facts, number one, Johns Hopkins University did an autopsy on Charles' body, especially his brain. And they noticed that he did not have any brain damage, but that his brain was small and underdeveloped. And that Marie, no one ever did an autopsy on her to prove whether she was pregnant or not. So that's just a little bit of fact base in the point where he was underdeveloped. So maybe he didn't have an IQ that was high, but he definitely did not have brain damage. And that with Marie, we will never know. Was she pregnant? Was she not? Was she pregnant with her father's baby? And is that the reason why Charles snapped? Was it because Marie was going to reveal on Christmas Day that she was having a baby? Let's say Fanny did know that Marie was pregnant. And of course, Charles knew that Marie was pregnant. But was Marie going to reveal to her brothers and sisters that she was pregnant with her father's baby? Was society about to find out, the community, because Germantown is a small community, so everybody knows everybody. Did he not want the community to know about his relationship? Is that why he wanted to end it all and was embarrassed by it all and took his own life in the end? So the last theory I want to discuss is the whole situation of why he did not end Arthur's life, his oldest son, who was about 18, 19 at the time. It is speculated that, number one, maybe he was the favorite. Maybe he loved him more and wanted him to live. He told him to go out and run an errand. Number two, maybe he knew that Arthur would stop him and not let him commit this act in taking out his entire family. Once again, we will never know. Now, Charles' brothers, Marion and Elijah, but especially Marion, he noticed that a lot of people kept coming to visit Brook Cove Road to see the Lawson family massacre. So he said, you know what? We're going to open up the home and we're going to make it a tourist site. And even till this day, you can go and visit the Lawson family home. And you can even still see Marie's Christmas cake. However, the only thing missing about the Christmas cake are raisins. At the beginning, when they allowed people to visit the home, they left the cake where you could actually touch it. And people would actually pick the raisins off of the cake. So now you can actually visit the home as it in its condition of a crime scene, but the Christmas cake is there, but it's not to be touched. You guys, the reason why I wanted to share this story with you all, love on your loved ones. I know right now we cannot be with them, but family is the most important thing. If you have health issues, mental health issues, it's okay to talk to someone, but it's never okay to end someone's life, to end your life, to make a rash decision as this. So, you guys comment down below, like and subscribe, because I have more videos coming up, more Christmas crimes coming up. So, until next time.